Welcome to Every Night is Game Night, your home for heavy strategy, awesome theme, and everything in between. Check us out along with other great podcasts at dicetowernetwork.com.
Every Night is Game Night, episode 73, the ENGN Solo Awards for 2017, part 2.
Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome back to Every Night is Game Night. This is part 2 of our Solo Awards for 2017. With you once again is Anthony and Jason.
Yo, my peoples, what's up?
All right, guys, we are back with part 2 and the big categories that we know you're all waiting for from our 2017 Solo Awards.
All right. So, last episode we went through a bunch of, categories that we really wanted to fill in. We hope you were entertained by, the apps and the expansions and some of the stuff we had in there. These are the core games. So I broke them down into 5 categories. We'll get to one category that didn't quite make sense, but the rest of them are really solid, thing like wheelhouse stuff for the solo community. So, let's just get into it without further ado. We're on an award show, so I keep on saying, having the impulse to say it without further ado, even though there's more ado.
There's a lot of ado, man.
There's so much ado.
And we should say, in case you weren't on last week's episode, if you're just hopping on and missed a week, go back and listen to the last week. And also, we have some of our friends from the Solo Sphere on helping us present. So you're going to hear a lot of voices in this episode that maybe you haven't heard on the podcast before, or maybe you have, because some of these people have been our guests.
Cool. All right. So, if you want to hear from Adam and Colin and Hans and a couple of other folks, and obviously Peter and Michael as well, from their respective channels, go listen to their last episode. This episode, we have more. So we are going to throw it to our first presenter for the best short game defined as a game under 30 minutes playtime. We are going to throw it over to Low Player Count.
Hello, this is Travis from Low Player Count. We're a podcast that talks about 1 and 2 player board games, and I'm here to give the category of best short games. These are games that are defined as 30 minutes or less of playtime, and there's some fantastic games in this one. First up, we have Caverna, Cave vs. Cave, the Dresden Files cooperative card game, Mintworks, Number 9, and The Lost Expedition. Now, the winner is one of my favorite games from 2017, and that is Lost Expedition. This was designed by Pierre Sylvester, and it was published by Osprey Games. Man, what an incredible game this is. Absolutely love it. 1 to 5 players. Tough as nails, but such an evocative theme, such beautiful artwork, fantastic packaging. Love it. Lost Expedition. Thanks.
Anthony, well, I'll ask it this way. Was this an obvious choice?
No, this was a hard one for me.
Yeah.
I really, really, really liked Lost Expedition. This was a big surprise for me. Like, thematically, I knew I was going to pick it up because I was like, I love this theme. But there were so many good games that fit this category for me this year. Caverna, Cave vs. Cave was just great. Number 9, despite just being a simple puzzle game. Just kidding. You guys know that I love simple puzzle games. Dresden Files co-op card game was like this very cool micro puzzle type of thing. Not at all what you expected. I wasn't a huge fan of Friedman Freeze's finished, like compared to Friday, but it was very good. And then Hardback, which we didn't even nominate because it just came out like at the very, very, very tail end of the year. I love the solo game in that, even a little bit more than paperback. So there was a lot to choose from, but for me, Lost Expedition kind of, in the end, it was the one that I've kept coming back to the most, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we can keep going. I mean, Trip Lock from Chip Theory Games, I still see people posting about that on the Facebook Guild and stuff. 5 Minute Dungeon will have people excited again towards the end of the year. So many good games. I think the filler category is of particular love in the solo community, which you saw that with One Deck Dungeon. If this was last year, then One Deck Dungeon would have just blown away this category in terms of like a short filler game. And then, Onirim and Friday. So like whenever you post, anybody posts like, oh, show me a good first solo game. Onirim, Friday, One Deck Dungeon. Not sure if Lost Expedition is going to reach that level of like an auto recommend. So in that respect, maybe this category might not have been as strong as a couple of maybe years past. But yeah, a nice suite of games for your filler appetites.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I feel like the Lost Expedition might be on par with like a vanilla Onirim, right? Like if they release expansions for it and add new mechanisms and new concepts to it, I could totally see it sticking around though.
Well, we're getting Judge Dredd in an expedition.
That's
game.
right. I forgot about that.
Yes, we have. We'll probably have Pierre, Sylvester, and Duncan over at Osprey Games on the pod later in the year to talk about the Judge Dredd expansion. So obviously they know what they have. So we're going to get more of it. So that's very cool. All right. So we are going to step up in weight. So that is how we're going to handle presenting these categories. We're going to get a little bit heavier now to what I am calling the best family/casual strategy game. And we are going to throw it to our friend Liz Davidson from Beyond Solitaire blog.
Hey gamers, this is Liz Davidson from Beyond Solitaire, and I'm proud to present the award for 2017's Best Family or Casual Strategy Game. The nominees are Ex Libris, designed by Adam P. McIver and published by Renegade Games. Sagrada, designed by Daryl Andrews and Adrian Adamescu, published by Floodgate Games. Charterstone, designed by Jamie Stegmaier and published by Stonemaier Games. Dinosaur Island, designed by Jonathan Gilmore and Brian Lewis, and published by Pandasaurus Games. And Tiny Epic Quest, designed by Scott Alms and published by Gamelin Games. As you can see, we had a very strong group of candidates this year. Congratulations to everyone who was nominated. However, there can be only one winner. The best family or casual strategy game of 2017 is Sagrada. Congratulations to the Sagrada team, and to all of you listeners, happy gaming.
And the winner is Sagrada. So Sagrada has won a lot of awards, actually. I'm looking around, kind of the people are starting to pump out their own year-end awards. A lot of family awards it's getting, a lot of, like that casual entry-level gateway type. Like I figured this category would be like, where a Catan or a Pandemic, those really huge tentpole gateway games. Sagrada, man.
Yeah, man, I'm all about it. I love Sagrada. It's this very just simple yet elegant puzzle-ish game with a lot of replayability and different ways you can kind of approach it. It fits in this category perfectly. It's just as good with multiple players as with one. It's great for the family. The theme is very accessible, a little abstract, but there's nothing strange about it that's going to put anybody off. It's much easier to learn than I think any of these other 4 games that we nominated. So, yeah, I mean, it definitely fits the category perfectly.
Yeah, and so like it's compared to Role Player, but it actually that's which probably would have won the award in 2016 Role Player. I think that game was also kind of took people by storm. It definitely stood out though because I did a game day and they were teaching it on both tables, and you were able to get through 2 games of Sagrada in the time it takes to get through 1 game of Role Player, at least at max player count, right? So 4 and 4. Like something about Sagrada, they found a way to just make it really interesting and fast, and with a much smaller rule set. Role Player, you really have to learn a lot of exceptions, a lot of like little wrinkles. This one, yeah, I foresee. I think they're coming out with a 5-player expansion, which normally I see 5-player expansions. I'm like, no, don't do it. But this one, I could see it working, so I imagine this was going to get supported. Really nice to see kind of cream rising to the top because this wasn't exactly a hyped game either. Speaking of hyped games, Charterstone in this category, maybe it came out a little bit late in the year to really make an impact in the voting, but I think for the two of us, I think we probably still would have voted for Sagrada. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, on the solo side, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a huge fan of Charterstone solo.
Yeah, so I think it's effective for what it did, but yeah, there was some problems. Go ahead and check out the non-spoiler section of our review of Charterstone a couple of episodes ago for that. So yeah, I mean, and one thing I'll talk about in terms of overall trends, none of these were co-ops. So usually you think of like a family strategy game, especially on the solo side, there's going to be a co-op in there, right? So, I mean, Pandemic is a co-op. I'm trying to think of like, Castle Panic would be a good example of something here. Flashpoint Fire Rescue. These are like really well-known games that, what's a good co-op? Boom, boom, boom. Not really this year. Like there were co-ops. Let me see. I'm trying to think of like The Captain is Dead from AEG. The Maester's Trials also from AEG. I think you reviewed that. You weren't that impressed with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cooperative Dice City, and it doesn't have a ton of replayability. So give me some more content, and I might like it a little bit more.
Yeah, Hot Shots was very close to being nominated, but just kind of missed the mark. Still a good game. I recommend a family check out Hot Shots, but nothing that kind of rose to the level of, okay, here's another evolution in this game. So I don't know. Maybe we don't need any more co-ops. This is a cooperative games podcast, so I wanted more of them. It just stood out to me that we nominated a bunch of them, or we put them out there for the people to kind of like pick the best 5 for nominations, and none of them kind of rose to the top. So that's a thing. Maybe next year a version of Pandemic will kind of surge back.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, don't get us wrong. There's some co-ops coming up, just not in this category.
Oh yeah. Okay, so on to the next category. I'm actually, this is Future Jason, recording this in post-production because the original audio for this got a little bit mucked up, so I figured, why not? I'll just re-record. This is the best advanced card game, and the presenter is me. Yeah, I will take any chance that I can get to show off that music. I love it. The band is Electric Swing Circus. The song is Bella Bell. They actually gave us permission to use that song for the preview series, and I figured I'd pop it in here for people who don't listen to that particular series of episodes. Anyway, so the nominees for the best advanced card game are the Apocrypha Adventure Card Game, Aventuria Adventure Card Game, Card City XL, Dragonfire, and Shadowscape. And the winner is Dragonfire, designed by Randall Bills and published by Catalyst Games. Congratulations to Dragonfire. It was the far and away winner. We held the fan vote, and I really liked it as well. People like Shadowrun Crossfire, and even though it's really, really hard, really, really swingy, we did our review of it with Colin. I think we eventually came to the suggestion that even with all the flaws that it has, it's a really fun game, and I think the fans agree as well. So this is a little bit of a weird category. I wanted to give a spotlight to some games that might get swallowed in other categories. I think that was the intention, especially the adventure card games. I mean, I haven't played the Apocrypha game. I've heard some good things. But the Aventuria adventure card game and Shadowscape, those are both adventure games. I think they're both really good, especially Aventuria. Lots of content for that one. I've reviewed that or commented on it a couple times. So wanted to give a little bit of spotlight over there. Not sure if this particular category is going to continue, but at least I did my job and mentioned some games and gave some spotlight to a deserving winner, which is Dragonfire. All right, back to the original time stream. So let's get to, now that we have gone through all that other stuff, to the 2 biggest categories of 2017. If you are a solo gamer, if you're a cooperative gamer, if you're a Euro gamer, you will know and love games from these 2 categories. So let us go to first, the best adventure game. And we've asked our friend Paul Grogan from Gaming Rules to present this category.
Hi, my name is Paul Grogan and I run the Gaming Rules YouTube channel, website and all sorts of other things. For those people who don't know, Gaming Rules produces how to play videos, reviews, podcasts and all sorts of other content for the gamer. Now, I'm here, I've been lucky enough to present the category of the best adventure game, and the nominations are Gloom of Kilforth, This War of Mine, Too Many Bones, Seventh Continent and Gloomhaven. And I'm very pleased to announce that the winner is Gloomhaven, designed by Isaac Childress and published by Cephalofair Games. Now, some of you may know that I'm actually a little bit involved in Gloomhaven. I did the official rules video for the game, and I'm working with Isaac on future projects. So I'm very honoured to be giving the award to him, even though I had nothing to do with the voting of this. I personally agree with the choice. I've not played every one of those nominations, but of the ones I have played, Gloomhaven just beats everything else hands down. It's an absolute masterpiece of a game. The amount of effort that's gone into creating it, the amount of replayability that you get, and the sheer amount of content that you get in the game. And I'm not saying that, content is everything, but yeah, the game is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely love it. And it's a very deserved winner. So congratulations again to Gloomhaven, winner of the Best Adventure Game 2017.
Was there ever any doubt?
No. Not even a little tiny bit. Not even close. Like, these are all good too. Like, these are all good games. Yes. It's just this year, sorry guys.
Yeah, I know.
You picked a bad year to come out, because any other year, any of you could have won this award.
I talked to Tristan Hall, the maker of Gooma Killforth. He's like, "Oh, well, thank you for nominating me for having the right to get my butt kicked by Gloomhaven."
I know, it's like, you almost wanted to be contrarian just to be contrarian, but you can't, because it's such an amazing accomplishment in gaming. But for me at least, it's probably the one adventure dungeon crawl style of game that I've ever put this high in my list. Any given year. Like, this was my number 2 game of the year, period, across all games, not just solo and co-op, but all games. And it's well deserved.
So, a couple of observations. First of all, and this I got from the Facebook comments. They didn't think that Gloomhaven was the best pure adventure game. It's more of a hybrid. So the best pure adventure game, in the opinion of a lot of games over there, are Seven Continent, which is a pure adventure game. I mean, you went, and there's barely any combat. You're exploring this huge world, and you're having these different adventures and everything. And so that theoretically should win a category called Best Adventure Game. This gets into the whole thing of like where to categorize things. I just did the best that I could, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's like dungeon crawls are adventure games. If they're combat heavy, they're still adventure games. Right. And if it's the best of those, then there you go. Like, Descent is still an adventure game, even though it's a pure dungeon crawl.
And this War of Mine, I got some pushback on, because they're like, no, it's a survival game. But I guess it's still kind of adventure. Like, I think of an adventure as transporting. It's transporting. It takes you into another imaginative world, very narrative, thematic experience, and it's also kind of from the first person. So people say, "Oh, well, a war game is adventure game." Well, a war game, you're kind of playing a general and you're moving troops all over the place. This one, they're really encouraging you to immerse yourself in a story, and even if the goals, quote unquote, in this War of Mine weren't like these heroic goals, and you're not getting like fat loot or anything like that, it's still, to me, in at least adventure in the broadest sense of the term. And I don't know that this would have won in other years, but I'm glad it made the nomination list, because it really is an achievement. It's really different. Only got a chance to play a little bit of it, but I want to play more. I've played the app too. Really good. Too Many Bones also innovate. All these games are like really, really innovative, really like kind of breaking the mold. Another thing I'm noticing, all Kickstarter, all of them Kickstarter. The bigger adventure games coming from the main companies. You're looking at Fallout. You're looking at Massive Darkness. Some of the other Fantasy Flight releases. Good, but these games were outstripped them in ambition.
Yeah, I think we're going to continue to see that, because I don't think, like, you look at all these games, I don't think you could publish most of these.
Right.
As a normal publisher. Maybe this War of Mine, possibly a stripped down version of Gloom of Killforth, but Seventh Continent, Too Many Bones, Gloomhaven, those can only exist on Kickstarter, because the cost of production, the scope of them, like, forget all that even. Like, a normal publisher would have looked at Gloomhaven and said, cool, we've got a base game here and 9 expansions. Like, yeah. They wouldn't have, there's so much content there. There's no way they would have released that in one big box. So this kind of thing just isn't going to happen from your typical publishers. It's going to come from a small guy who has spent, half of a decade building their passion project. They finally get it out there and boom, wins all the awards, because I feel like being in board games is one of the few areas where you can see stuff like this. Maybe in video games, you get those indie games that kind of come along and do that occasionally. But these guys can actually compete with the big guys because of things like Kickstarter, and that's really cool.
Yeah, we're getting more Paths of Iridias coming out pretty soon on Kickstarter, which I'm good. That's a day one back for me. U-Boot, as of this recording, is one of these kind of submarine things, which is, again, pushing the definition of adventure, but I think it's like, at least thematically, probably maybe I'll call this category best thematic game. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Please hit me up on the comments if you want to like mess with the names. As long as you get what I'm trying to communicate over here, I'll take it. But I think we're gonna look to Kickstarter. Oh, not to say that a lot of good games won't come out. Like Arkham Horror LCG is a tried and true, Fantasy Flight game, and that's an adventure game. But I think like if we're gonna get really good stuff in this category, it's going to come from Kickstarter. So. We're not Kickstarter haters on this channel at all. At least for what it delivers us, we're really happy to do it. So, I have saved at least, if not the best clip, because I love all the contributors. They're all my dear friends. But this is definitely the classiest clip that we've gotten. Here to present the category of Best Complex Strategy Games, it is Anthony and Francis from AntLab Games.
Now, to announce the winner of the Best Complex Strategy Game of 2017, Anthony and Francis from the YouTube channel AntLab Games.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are honored to be here today to present you with the award for Best Complex Strategy Game of 2017.
All right, before we get started, I just have to say this has been a year of an incredible amount of strategy games. It was honestly really hard for everybody to narrow this down to a few nominees and then pick just one. I really feel like we have so many, I'm surprised we can even leave our game room most of the time, to be honest.
Exactly. On our channel, AntLab Games on YouTube, we really try to present to our viewers a large variety of genres, right? Mm-hmm. But strategy games really seem to take up the majority of those playthroughs because of how much we do appreciate them, right?
I think we're king of the 3-hour playthrough.
Without a doubt, I think we're pressing it. And not only do we just provide a full playthrough in most cases, but we also end with somewhat, a full review in most cases, right? Mm-hmm. Because we're talking a 2-hour playthrough plus 30 minutes.
Right.
Of us, pretty much telling you exactly how we feel. So for us, complex strategy game is, probably our number one most enjoyed category in the board game industry.
Without a doubt. So what we're looking for in a strategy game, and many of these nominees actually have crossed our table. We're looking for quality, obviously. We're looking for a rule book that is not only in English, but is actually something we can comprehend. We don't like to have to go to the forums and try to figure stuff out, especially when, a lot of times we're some of the first to be playing these games. So, we're looking for a solid rule book, a challenge of some kind. Not that we don't have enough challenges in our life already, but we like to kind of get to the table and really work through a really solid puzzle. Replayability becomes something that, we really, really look for. And then all that kind of packed in a solid theme and with quality components.
So for that reason, we'd like to thank Every Night is Game Night for having us on to present this specific category, right?
Yeah.
So I think without further ado, here are your nominees.
Anachrony.
Spirit Island.
Clans of Caledonia.
Gaia Project.
Lisboa.
And the winner for Best Complex Strategy Game of 2017 is...
I can't get this envelope open. Like, what they use? Super glue? Like a trade secret or something? Spirit Island. Designed by R. Eric Roos and published by Greater Than Games.
tough category, my man.
So tough. Oh my God.
I'm going to give you a little bit of free reign because if the adventure game was my category, this one's yours.
Man, like when we put this list together, we're like, oh, what games go in here? And it was just like, so many good games. It was really, really tough. And especially towards the end of the year, because there was a couple of these that came out right at the end of the year and hadn't had a chance to play them. But when I did get a chance to play them, I'm like, man, now it's even harder. So, like Clans of Caledonia is just this really clever mashup style, relatively quick economic Euro. Anachrony is just like this fever dream of crazy, but it's amazing how well it works. Lisboa is this epic experience from one of Vidal Lacerda's best. And then Gaia Project is, in my opinion, the best implementation yet of an Automa, period. It's really, really good. It makes Terra Mystica in space, fixes all the problems of Terra Mystica, and adds the Automa. Like, how can you beat that? Well, I'll tell you how you can beat that. You build a game like Spirit Island, which is just, it turns cooperative game into a Euro, which is the only way that a cooperative game will ever be number one on my list for any given year. And this was my number one game of 2017, period, across all things. So, which says a lot, because I loved all four of these other games. All four of them are more typically in my wheelhouse as Euros, especially games like Gaia Project or Lisboa, which are just like from designers I love, game styles I love, and yet Spirit Island was just so amazing. And it speaks to the fact it's a cooperative game and it's the best complex strategy game. Like that doesn't happen normally.
Yeah, some people told me to put Gloomhaven in this category. You Gloomhaven, go just enjoy your adventure game.
No, I mean Gloomhaven, I'll give it credit. It's a pretty solid strategy game. Like it does the same. It's the same reason that was my number 2 game, because I would never put an adventure or dungeon crawl up that high. Is that it's a Euro take on that genre, but it's not like these. It's not that level of complexity. It's still just a lot of combat.
Yeah, I think I wanted this category to be about like standalone games. Like, Gloomhaven that's a scenario based game. So like you play one scenario, you're not going to play the same scenario again, and it's just not going to happen. So that was like a thing for adventure game category for me, was like I had to be scenario based. These are like you throw it on the table and you're going to play, and the mechanics. It's a mechanics first category. It speaks for itself. A lot of Euros here. There could have been complex games that are not Euros. So one commenter talked about Bios Megafauna, which neither Anthony or I have played, but we're both interested in playing that. That'd be a game that would fit into this category of like complex game. I'm sure there's a couple other games we've missed. Please let us know in comments or messages. Some of the other games that would fit into like a standalone mechanical experience that pops out at you. There's lots of good ones every year. This was one where there wasn't like a ton of actual nominations. Like in the other list, there'd be like 100 million games. This one, this is definitely like the connoisseurs list, and really, really deep, great year. Spirit Island, and another one of those things where it's like, I think First Martians and other similar games got a lot of hype, but cream rises to the top.
Yeah, I mean, I skipped this one at Gen Con. I had a chance to get it, and I just didn't, because I was like, co-op. Yeah. Like
Tree Spirit, get out of here.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and my local game store owner, when I came back from Gen Con, was like, have you played this game? Oh my God. He was the biggest evangelist I've ever seen. It was his number 1 game of the year, too. And he described it as Terra Mystica co-op, which is not really what it is, but the idea behind it is kind of similar in that...
He was just trying to get you to buy it, dude.
Well, I mean, it worked. So... He's pretty honest. He'll tell me when something's crap. But
there you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those games that I again would have completely walked past, and it was also kickstarted. Like 4 out of 5 of these were kickstarted. So it's one of those years, guys.
Yeah, that is. I actually just noticed that myself. Besides Gaia Project, which Gaia Project is a reimplementation. You're getting more of the same, and it happened to be effective more of the same, but it's more of the same of something that came before. If you're going to innovate, Kickstarter's where it's at. Happy to see that that avenue is available if you're not going to go the big company route. So yeah, that's our big award show. Just, maybe we could just wrap this up in our thoughts in general of the year 2017 in games. For me, it's a good year. Like there's a lot of good games on my shelf from 2017. Maybe not a lot of like like I said, there was a lot of new games, and Gloomhaven is just, blowing things away. But I think not a lot of great, like brand new mechanisms. Like we didn't get a new legacy. We didn't get a new deck building and that kind of thing. I think this was a year of kind of padding out our collections, padding out, like let's get more good titles. So, not going to argue with that.
Yeah.
I have plenty on my shelf with 2017 and plenty that I still have yet to play. So I guess that's, very good. Yeah, I give it like an A- in terms of a grade. So like, lots of great games. A 2015 would be an example of an A, which is like, wow, we got Legacy, we got Time Stories, we got these innovative games. I guess that's just revealing my own bias in terms of judging this stuff. But I really enjoyed the year and I'm looking forward to more.
Yeah, man, I think I'm in the same boat. Like I have a lot of games that have kept on my shelves from 2017, but none of them were like, look at this game that completely upended everything we think about gaming. I think for me, it was the year of games that couldn't be published 5 years ago that somehow magically exist, and games that put Euro mechanisms in a new package, which for me is amazing. So I'm finding all new categories of games I didn't typically like because people are finding ways to make them puzzly and more strategic. And hopefully that continues because it's been really, really cool to kind of get into these mechanisms that I don't normally like because they're usually a little too light, with a little bit more thought behind them.
That's a good point because like I think the success of Scythe and Terraforming Mars in terms of these hybrid games that they're mechanism driven, but they're also the theme is there was intention put behind the theme. Like we're seeing next year, Scythe is getting a campaign mode. Terraforming Mars. I wouldn't be surprised if we got a Terraforming Mars Legacy at some point. The synthesis of mechanism and theme that might be a good way to encapsulate the year. Like they definitely advanced in that category. More narrative, more story, but now being integrated with the best of what the worker placement and all this other stuff has to offer. So okay, you convinced me. Maybe I might bump it up a little bit more. Now I'm going to stick with my grade.
I'm with you,
That's
man.
a really good direction. Really good direction for games.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's always going to be the year I remember that I picked a co-op and an adventure game as my top two. But it's never going to happen again. But yeah, guys, that is everything for our epic two-part ENGN Solo Awards show for 2017. Let us know what you think. I mean, if there are games that we didn't include as in our nominations, or games that you think should have gotten more love from us, let us know because, we play as many games as we can, but every now and then a gem slips through and we just miss it. And we did our best to capture everything, but we'd love to hear from you guys if there's something out there that we need to get on our table in the next few months. So you can hit us up on Twitter at ENGN_podcast. You can hit us up on Facebook in the Solo Board Gaming group or in the Board Gamers Anonymous page. You can hit us up on everynightisgamenight.com. And just let us know what you think, because your feedback really helps us drive the show and really, really appreciate it. So until next time, go ahead and grab a solo game off the shelf and let's make every night game night.
Later, everybody.